Well, Michael, this was a brutal killing here. We can't tell you. I've seen the crime scene photos and these court documents, and they're absolutely horrific. The victim was stabbed and scalped and mutilated, and the man who confessed to killing him was punished for manslaughter, not murder.
This is the most tragic case in a decade, as secret gay lover stuffed, disemboweled, stabbed, and disfigured his homosexual boyfriend. What led to the manslaughter? And did the offender get away with his deeds? Join us as we unveil the shocking discovery of this horrible case. On a chilly December 24th, 1979, Kurtland Ma was born in Scottsdale, Arizona, in the United States, to the east of Maricopa County. He is the beloved second child of Chinese immigrants Danny and Peggy Ma. Being loved by his family, especially his maternal grandparents, Jimmy Wing and Ellen Lee, Kurtland's early years unfolded in the cozy embrace of normalcy. However, Kurtland always managed to win hearts wherever he went, with his easygoing manner and unfailing smile. Jimmy and Ellen, his grandparents, considered themselves lucky to have such a wonderful grandchild in their lives. Kurtland's natural curiosity and knack for learning became apparent as he moved through elementary school. But it was in high school that his academic abilities really started to show. In any case, Kurtland immersed himself in advanced maths classes outside of his usual school curriculum, eager to broaden his horizons. Kurtland's path crossed with fate one of the afternoons while traveling to class when he ran across Ann Chong, a classmate who went to a different school. Kurtland's quick wit and friendliness grabbed Ann during their brief encounter. On the other hand, Kurtland was drawn to Ann's wit and charm. They set out on a voyage of friendship and camaraderie, after which their bond became unshakable. Kurtland and Ann's connection looked indestructible as they started their junior year of high school together in Phoenix. But destiny had a surprise in store for them. Unable to control her emotions, Ann confided in Kurtland that she was profoundly in love with him and thought he was her soulmate. She had high aspirations, but Kurtland's response crushed her, even though he loved her dearly, but only as a sister. Ann was devastated and had a hard time processing Kurtland's disclosure, but she managed to mend her broken heart and decide to keep their close friendship intact. Their relationship remained unwavering despite the emotional upheaval. Kurtland, in the meantime, was studying even more as his desire to learn was greater than before. It seems that his intellectual prowess quickly distinguished him from his contemporaries, leading to a crucial event in 1997. One of the most important tests for deciding college admissions nationwide is the Scholastic Assessment Test, LOOMD, and Kurtland demonstrated his cerebral prowess by scoring 1,600 points, which was perilously close to perfection. He became known as one of the best brains in the country after achieving this outstanding achievement and being named a presidential scholar. However, Kurtland was more than just a scholar. His life was a tapestry woven with optimism and meaning, demonstrating that ambition and brilliance could coexist with a full, meaningful life. Kurtland's life was a careful balancing act between joy and duty. In addition to his academic endeavors, he was an avid tennis player who participated in local university events with enthusiasm. Kurtland enthusiastically welcomed the next chapter of his trip as 1998 came into being. Yale University, which was beckoned, was located in the vibrant community of Next Haven, Connecticut, and there he decided to major in American Studies. As Kurtland adjusted to campus life, he discovered that he shared a room with Michael Guzman, which led to the development of a close friendship. Interestingly, Kurtland was liked by many for his sincere compassion and persistent support, which Michael appreciated. Nevertheless, Kurtland easily made acquaintances and connections with his peers thanks to his gentle nature and calm demeanor, winning their respect and friendship. Kurtland stayed close to Ann despite their geographical separation, even as his circle of friends grew. During an open discussion, Ann questioned Kurtland about his love life, thinking that he was keeping it quiet to protect her feelings. Kurtland, on the other hand, shocked her by sincerely admitting that he wasn't drawn to women. Ann was so shocked and found it difficult to process what he had just said. Kurtland found comfort in their unwavering companionship, though, and he communicated his truth with them with tolerance and understanding. Kurtland's final thesis evolved into an intensely personal homage to his heritage as he studied more. His investigation of Asian American lives made a claim and won him the esteemed Henry Hayes Prize. He once again set out on a mission to realize his aspirations after receiving his bachelor's degree in 2002. He taught English in China and participated in a cultural exchange program in Spain to fully immerse himself in Spanish culture. Kurtland gained insight into his future course. He went back to Yale University, this time seeking a profession in medicine, driven by a calling to help. His commitment to healing was demonstrated by his graduate thesis, which examined the use of Chinese medicine in HIV patients in Hong Kong. Kurtland's lifelong commitment to improving people's lives culminated in 2008 when he moved to Manhattan to start his residency in emergency care. This internship in the bustling Jacobi and Montefiore hospitals in the heart of the Bronx played out like a compelling medical drama for Kurtland. He did, however, develop an unbreakable relationship with nurse Christian Chow. Their camaraderie, a ray of hope amidst the disorderly healthcare industry. Along with a group of medical professionals, Kurtland and Christian started a commendable mission that involved teaching the LGBTQ+ community in New York City about the risks associated with substance addiction and unprotected sex. They worked tirelessly to safeguard and empower people while bringing important health issues that are sometimes ignored to light. However, Kurtland's influence went beyond the hospital's boundaries. Equipped with his keen clinical intuition, he stunned both patients and colleagues with a diagnosis of a rare instance of intoxication related to fish that baffled even the most experienced doctors. His status as a rising star in the medical field was cemented when the medical marvel received a positive notice in the prestigious pages of the New York Times. But even in the midst of his career successes, Kurtland's social life was illuminating. He moved with grace and charm in the busy social world of New York City, attending everything from formal dinners to lively saris. Andre Damon Davids was one figure that stuck out among the masses of people. Andre was a mysterious man, born in the shadows of the city. He was quiet and mysterious, carrying the burden of unspoken medical conditions and negotiating a confusing maze of prescription drugs and therapies. Andre's ability to be dependable and devoted is demonstrated by the strong relationship he has with his sister, despite his guarded demeanor. Sparks flew when Kurtland's world slammed into Andre, sparking an unexplainable bond. However, there were shadows lurking below the surface, threatening to overshadow their newfound bliss. Kurtland and Andre's path was full of obstacles and tests of their love and fortitude, with every twist and turn. Kurtland and Andre had different personalities, but they were drawn to each other by a magnetic affinity that developed into a covert romance. However, Kurtland chose to hide their love from friends and family, keeping it hidden from inquisitive eyes. Kurtland was getting close to the conclusion of his difficult stay, and he was itching for a break from the busy city of New York. In July 2012, he made the risky choice to move back to Arizona because he was desperate to see his family and his origins. Kurtland shared his happy return on social media as he settled in with his parents, Peggy and Danny, and welcomed the comforts of home and the prospect of a new beginning in his hometown. Kurtland and Andre were separated by miles and time zones, but their relationship remained unwavering despite this. Kurtland balanced his newfound life in Arizona with frequent trips to New York, where he enjoyed time spent with Andre and reconnected with old acquaintances. However, Andre couldn't resist the allure of Arizona, and in 2013 he decided to go, bridging the physical distance between them. Kurtland's world felt complete with Andre at his side in Arizona, but their love story was unbounded by boundaries. Kurtland boldly announced his connection to the world by posting a picture of himself and Andre on social media in September of that momentous year. His friend Christian was taken aback by the news, but he and Kurtland's other pals embraced Andre with open arms. It was so clear that Andre was reluctant to fit in with Kurtland's social group. Andre was uninterested in their attempts to involve him, and his jealousy of Kurtland's friendships was evident. His compulsive behavior worsened over time, to the point where he asked Kurtland to avoid hanging out with his pals. However, Kurtland never let Andre's fears break his spirit because he was always the optimist. Rather, he stayed unwavering in his pursuit of his own objectives, which included his intention to go alongside Christian. Driven by the need for a new beginning, Kurtland, living in California, a state renowned for its welcoming environment and thriving LGBTQ+ community. Kurtland was thrilled about starting over, so he told Anne all about his hopes and made sure she understood how important Andre was to their plans. Apparently, Kurtland accepted the promise of tomorrow with a heart full of hope and an unyielding determination, knowing that love would triumph over all. Kurtland's ambition of working at Gardena Hospital under the bright California skies came true, and he was thrilled at the opportunity to get more active in the thriving LGBTQ+ community in the Golden State. Kurtland was full of his usual energy, ready to make a difference and welcome his new home. The pair moved into a charming flat on Palm Avenue in West Hollywood's lively neighborhood, which is well known for its vibrant nightlife, in February 2014. Kurtland's happiness, though, was fleeting, as underlying conflicts raised doubts about their once bright future. During a trip to Japan, Kurtland started a self-reflection journey amidst the maelstrom of competing emotions. Returning home, he faced the hard truth that harmony was still elusive and the fissures in their relationship had become irreversibly deeper. Kurtland felt it was time for an inevitable talk as the seconds passed before that fatal Saturday night on March 28, 2014. Little did he know that a more terrifying event lurks in the dark. That fateful day, he brought up the topic, expressing his dissatisfaction with the direction his relationship was taking and considering dating other people, with a heavy heart. In an instant, a straightforward chat turned into a furious argument due to Andre's unwillingness to consider the idea of separation. Both men were struggling to comprehend the seriousness of the situation as hostilities escalated. The argument became serious as each grabbed a knife from the kitchen in a frantic attempt to show who was in charge. However, Andre stayed firm, driven by a flurry of feelings, even when Kurtland tried to defuse the situation. In a terrifying change of events, Andre brandished the weapon and attacked Kurtland viciously, inflicting lethal wounds till he was rendered unconscious. This was motivated by a strong combination of rage and desperation. As the consequences of his actions began to seep in, Andre's terrified thoughts turned to his sister's counsel, disguising the actual horror of the circumstance in a frantic cry for assistance. However, realizing how urgent the situation was, Andre's sister did not hesitate to notify the authorities, worried for her brother's safety. The terrifying silence of the flat belied the carnage that had occurred within its walls as the authorities arrived on the scene. The grim truth of the situation became more and more evident with every minute that went by, leading to a desperate hunt for solutions. When the clock approached 5 p.m. on Saturday, March 29, 2014, officers arrived on the scene with a sense of urgency. They broke through the house's barrier with resolute force, only to be met by an unspeakable scene of horror within. Kurtland's body lay on the chilly kitchen floor in the eerie silence, leaving a lasting impression on all who saw it. A frightening reminder of the bloodshed that had destroyed the peace on that terrible day, the weight of tragedy remained thick in the air. But amid the stark tableau, there was yet more terrifying discovery to come. Andre was lying injured in the bathtub in the bathroom, teetering on the brink of despair with a knife clenched in his shaking hand. There was a bottle of medications and a cell phone next to him. A moment later, an officer made sure Andre was secure, calling for the fire department to send someone to carefully remove him from the dangerous scenario. However, to receive medical attention for his wounds, Andre was rushed to the hospital, and his physical injuries revealed the extent of his suffering. Meanwhile, paramedics came face to face with the awful reality of Kurtland's lifeless body as they attempted to revive him. There was nothing more they could do, even when they tried as much as they could. Around 7 o'clock at night, Kurtland's awful demise as an innocent victim of unspeakable violence was confirmed by the coroner's grave statement. Following a solemn transfer of his body to the mortuary, an autopsy revealed the severity of Andre's attack, serving as a startling testament to the lowest reaches of human depravity. The neighborhood was shocked to learn of Kurtland's murder's graphic details. Investigators were horrified by the savagery of the crime, which resulted in 40 stab wounds, and the unnerving discovery that tablets had been placed into the wounds. It was evident that the assailant had used a variety of culinary tools to unleash a wave of violence. When Lieutenant John Carina, who was assigned to head the homicide unit, got there, he discovered that Andre was the main suspect in what seemed to be a crime of passion. The already terrible story was made even more complex when Andre's toxicology result throughout the investigation showed that he had traces of narcotics in his system. Andre, overcome with regret, confessed to the crime and gave horrifying details of what transpired before Kurtland's death during interrogation in the hospital. In addition, his genuine remorse and acknowledgement of guilt gave a grim picture of the destruction caused by his acts. By Sunday, March 30th, 2014, Andre was in police custody, facing a murder charge including the use of a lethal weapon and being held on an extraordinary $1 million bail. Why would they even grant him bail? That was a murder case and he should be charged for it. His apprehension caused a sensational stir in the media, enthralling viewers and bringing the sad circumstances under intense examination. The apartment block was the scene of another violent event while the investigation was ongoing, leaving the inhabitants terrified and uneasy. After the bloodshed that had marred their community, many people began to doubt their safety due to the close proximity of these horrific events, leading some of them to reevaluate their living arrangements. Nevertheless, Andre's trial began in December 2015, and charges against him ranged from second-degree murder to voluntary manslaughter. The difficult issue for the prosecution was to determine whether Andre's offense was motivated by express or inferred malice, a distinction that is crucial under California law and can have a big impact on the seriousness of the accusations and possible punishments. Kurtland's family originally encouraged authorities to pursue the more serious accusation, which held the possibility of a life sentence, in a moving display of grief and anguish. Defense lawyers, on the other hand, put forth a strong case, stressing Andre's reputation of nonviolence and claiming that his acts were motivated by a decreased mental ability brought on by drug misuse. Using the tried-and-true crime of passion defense, the defense portrayed a guy who was driven to the brink of his emotions due to heartbreak and betrayal. Given Andre's past usage of prescription drugs and Kurtland's vocalized wish to break up with him, the defense suggested that Andre's strong feelings might have influenced his decision-making, resulting in an impulsive act rather than a planned murder. On December 17, 2015, the jury finally returned an involuntary manslaughter judgment in a highly emotional courtroom. Weeks later, as the sentencing hearing was taking place, Kurtland's elder brother Wayland took advantage of the chance to speak with Andre. His remarks were brimming with unfiltered grief and honest emotion. He wished with all of his heart that Andre's actions would weigh heavily on him and serve as a constant reminder of the irreversible damage done to their family. Wayland's passionate plea, delivered in a time of extreme vulnerability, was a powerful reminder of the long-lasting effects of Andre's acts and a striking example of the unbreakable bond between love and sorrow that exists outside of the courtroom. There was a great deal of controversy and outrage in the community following Andre's trial. Judge Mark sentenced him to a maximum of 11 years in prison, plus an extra year for using a lethal weapon, even though he was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, an offense that carries a maximum term of 3 to 11 years. Many people expressed disapproval of the ruling and the apparent softness of the punishment for such a horrific and violent act. Meanwhile, the community was filled with cries for a new legal system to pursue harsher punishment, motivated by the unwavering memory of Andre's callousness. However, a second trial was not feasible due to the principles outlined in the U.S. Constitution, particularly the Fifth Amendment's ban on double jeopardy. Andre's legal team made a lot of effort to get a reduction in sentence and appeal the verdict, but their request was ignored. Michelle Janis, the deputy district attorney, spared no detail while describing the crime scene in detail, and with a disturbing sense of realism during the November 17, 2016 appeal hearing. Janis stressed the intensity of the victim's injuries, calling it one of the most horrific cases she and the homicide investigators had ever seen. Janis made clear in her closing argument that Andre posed a major threat to society, so the three judges on the panel were fully aware of how serious the situation was. The haunting specter of Andre's deeds lingered in the courtroom, a sharp reminder of the irrevocable devastation he had caused upon his victim and the community at large, despite his request for a lesser sentence. The initial sentence was upheld as the appeal process came to an end. The panel of judges upheld the trial court's decision to impose the maximum sentence of 11 years, with an additional year for the use of a dangerous weapon, acknowledging the callousness and cruelty displayed by Andre throughout the commission of the crime. Andre's action was so severe that there was no chance of pardon, even in spite of passionate pleas for mercy. Even though Kurtland is no longer physically with them, his memory lives on in the hearts of those who knew him. Christians' continued intense and bitter grief at the loss is evidence of the long-lasting effects of Kurtland's absence. Even yet, they take comfort in Kurtland's dislike of saying goodbye, a quality that shines through in their worst hours as a ray of love and understanding. In fact, they think that Kurtland's love is an immortal force that endures beyond space and time, allowing them to be sustained in their grief and perpetuating his memory all the way. Kurtland's legacy lives on, serving as a constant reminder of the ability of love to triumph even under the most trying situations, as they treasure the warmth of his smile and the generosity he showed to everyone he met. What do you think about the horrible case? Do you think the judgment placed on Andre was fair enough? Let us hear from you in the comments below. And please don't forget to check out any of our videos displayed on your screen for more videos like this.